Well, in 2016, I look at it and realize I joked, but I got out before I got a nickname.
I went to number one, and you went down the tube.
We don't need an apprentice in the White House. We have one right now.
8 years ago, then Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker was considered to be the GOP frontrunner when he jumped into the 2016 presidential race. Now, he's often cited as a candidate who peaked too soon. Are we seeing the same dynamic with Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis?
There's a lot of parallels with Governor DeSantis and I back in that 2016 election cycle. The difference, of course, was the new guy on the block at that time was Donald Trump. Certainly, there's a lot of people that are going to stick with President Trump. I think he's earned the right to be the front runner based upon what he accomplished during his 4 years as president. But I also think at the same time, there's going to be a lot of primary voters looking at Ron DeSantis, and for that matter, looking at other either current or former governors, Glenn Youngkin, Mike Pence, Nikki Haley. I think overall he's a solid B+. You know, there's some areas to improve on. Some of the things we did, for example, in Wisconsin with taking on the unions, putting the power back in the hands of the taxpayers. And I think of all the governors in America, he probably handled them the best during the last 4 years.
To get to know exactly where Walker stands on DeSantis' policies, we asked him to watch Florida's State of the State.
We must further strengthen our laws against illegal immigration by enhancing employment verification, increasing penalties for human smuggling, and further disincentivizing illegal migration to the state of Florida.
People got it in 2016, they get it again now. Legal immigration is good. Illegal immigration is bad. Certainly he's talking about it in Florida, but it's an issue in Wisconsin, and I think every one of at least the 48 continental United States, and probably the same goes in Alaska and Hawaii.
Our schools must deliver a good education, not a political indoctrination. Our children are not guinea pigs for science experimentation, and we cannot allow people to make money off mutilating them.
So if you can't get a tattoo if you're under 18, because obviously state after state, whether the blue or red states across the country, felt like it probably is not a wise decision to allow somebody to do something so permanent to their body that it might be irreversible. Why in the world would we be encouraging, not just allowing, but encouraging young people to make transitions that physically alter their bodies, whether they're male or female? Politically, there was a shift, in 2015 after the Supreme Court made a decision on marriage. It kind of took that issue largely off the table, and I think there are some groups on the left who are looking for a new wedge to try and make inroads with younger voters. I just think it's a horrible mistake. Not only is Ron DeSantis, but plenty of other leaders are onto this issue across the country.
Dangerous criminals should not simply be put back on the street like we see what happens in states that have gone so far as to abolish cash bail entirely. Police officers should not have to repeatedly risk his life to apprehend the same criminal over and over again. We also understand that part of fighting crime is to protect Floridians' right to defend themselves.
If you're a parent particularly, nothing is more important than the safety of your family. Even more than the economy, that's a top-level issue. People feel threatened, and it's because the last few years of this whole defund the police movement has made it harder and harder for good and decent law-abiding law enforcement officials to do their job, a job that often requires them to risk their lives. People get that, they understand that. It's not just Republicans who are concerned about this. I think people across the political spectrum are scared, and they want leaders who are going to stand up and ensure that they and their families are safe. Certainly what Ron DeSantis did in Florida was he didn't just talk about it, he got the job done, and that's certainly the sort of thing that people are going to be looking at in 2024 and beyond.